Hi folks. Now that we have released two main videos, one for the initial setup of SkillArch and one for the custom install, I wanted to take some more time, let's say a lot of time, to get more deeply into what is this distribution, what does it consist in, what are its whole exhaustive content, and what you can expect from it, what you can achieve with it. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start from the README. First, you can see there is a gentle rinse. There are some information on the initial install setup, so the simple one. You have to pick because the simple one, you have either updates or customization, but you cannot have both without breaking everything. There is also the advanced and custom one that will help you to fork, pull upstream changes and have everything on site, all your tweaks, all your backups, and updates, of course. So there are guides everywhere for pretty much everything, and the documentation related to what contains the Makefile. We'll get to that soon. What are the different steps you can take? What are the main aliases to help you do stuff? So get some help about the aliases, the i3 bindings that are mostly coming from Ubuntu that was relying on Regolith. So neat ones, but with some tweaks to have them nitty-gritty. The packages present on your distribution, a few tricks to unlock, help about your distribution packages, sometimes help to unlock specific features or, deadlocks. Update process for the simple and advanced installation processes. From that, a few gotcha on what can break, what could be improved, what changes from most of the distribution. A few examples are the key visual rectangular selection. If we get there and we type stuff, we can Control Alt and select rectangular, and from there you could pick or paste rectangular. A few extra information about AZERTY QWERTY changes related to i3, which is not out of the box, but not that hard. Information about the Docker images, and so on and so on. VirtualBox was the initial way for me to help you try SkillArch without breaking everything, or just to have some look before installing it on your main OS. This still should work, but honestly, VirtualBox is giving me more and more pain over time. So I would kindly suggest to migrate to boxes, which works like a charm, relies on QEMU, KVM, etc. There are a few goodies for guest utils if you still want to rely on VirtualBox. Do kill picom if you're on VirtualBox, etc., etc. Life is pain. If you want to have multiple monitors, then you will have to first open render, and from that, select the output you want to enable, the size you want to enable. Remember to have one of the two set as primary, so DPO here. And from that, you will have the polybar that refreshes and have the main screen and not duplicates. So that should help. Once you're done with that, you can lay out save as and save it somewhere. And within your xprofile.file, you can source or use this render script and running into backgrounds. That way, no lag, just works. From that, you can also ensure polybar works the right way. Mod Shift R to forcefully refresh Mod Shift C will refresh the i3 configuration. Mod Shift R will actually restart it with the configuration reloaded. Some really specific tweaks still need you to log out, log in, but that should not be much of a problem. I will not refresh here nor reload because I'm recording and I don't want it to break. Below are some more information about Docker usage. So I do rely intensively on Docker build and GitHub Action in order to have working builds daily and updated Docker images daily. And that way I can know ahead of time if things will break. And you can make a Docker run to have the really light image with a few command line tools, or the Docker run full to have all the graphical user interface tooling, run wireshark, meld, compare, or even burpsuite within Docker on your host and have it working without even paying attention about Docker command line arguments. Of course, a lot of information about the bindings. So you can rely on mod hash to have the main bind sim help, mod shift H to have aliases help, and mod control H to have all the packages installed and whatnot. So you can just scroll around, or I don't know, see what's being installed by just fuzzy. Same, it works for the bindings, etc. I will not go through all the bindings, but the main ones are on the top here or in here. And well, they are mostly self-explanatory, so you can try to get used to it or fuzzy find every time you need one until things get hard-coded in there. So of course there is some resize, and I try to update as precisely as I can the README every time there are new packages being installed and removed. So we'll not cover that, but we'll cover that from the Makefile. Security-wise, of course, we are security guys, security folks. I do not want to harden and block everything right away, because if you have an OS and then install SkillArch, it will probably lock yourself out of your machine. If you are reconfiguring a remote host and I add a firewall to block everything, well, what if I cut SSH? What if I cut SSH on a port that is not default? What if I cut no machine or any VNC client? I do not want to lock you out. That's why it's disabled by default or enabled but with no rule. OpenSnitch is here to prevent your internal tools from accessing unwanted egress sources. So it will enforce you or help you to deny all outgoing requests by default and only allowing the one you already agreed for. It can be based on the domain, on the IP, on the port, on the protocol, etc., or even on the software if you want to whitelist the whole software. So that's really helpful. And depending on what you do, like if you do run scans of tons of domains, of course you will have to whitelist tools, because you cannot whitelist thousands of domains, not by hand at least. Be careful about what's happening. And I was making fun of Docker that bypasses UFW and IP tables, but that's not true anymore since Docker 28 strictly. Well, it's still before that, but they fixed it in another way. Agenda table for comparison, and Kudos, because without people doing really cool work, I would not be able to do even 1/1000th of what is being done here. So that's it for the README. Now let's get started. Let's get going on the content. Content-wise, we'll first go through the repository structure and go with T2. Of course, we do have some assets, backgrounds, logo, etc. If you want to make some brain rot memes, please go on. Config-wise, all the files are actual files, and I will try most of the time to back up your current .file and symlink your home.files to the configuration files in here. There are tools to do that and automate that, but I wanted something really granular, so it is handmade. Of course, the Docker full and light images, the full is based on the light one. That way we can have some sort of multi-stages build, make things faster and more readable. Config-wise, we have, of course, let's go into config. We have i3 config file, kitty, which is the terminal, neovim, which is relying on lazy vim to have to have tons of colors and linters and everything, and life web calls and some py to show that we have some syntax highlight by default, some sane shortcuts, lining and all. Can also use that as a file manager or browser. Should work right away, should even be able to preview some files. Back to that. So neovim, we do have polybar, which is that bar up here. If someday you wonder about, hey, what's the PID of this bar, of this software, you have cool aliases like git PID click. Whoop, polybar's PID is that one. Let's double check that. PS folks, type grep f bam. Folks. And we do indeed have polybar run at that PID, and our grep, that is a false positive because it's a dirty grep. Back to T2, rofi is the one responsible for mod space command invoker, or mod shift space for well, there are desktop programs or command being executed. That are two different ones. So pick the one that works for you. Most of the time, mod space should be enough. Back to the config, xorg is the touchpad configuration. You want natural scrolling. Anyone doing something different than that should ask what is sanity. So I try to have a touchpad. You want to have natural scrolling, and you want to have touch to click, because if you are on a laptop, click on the, either it's on the mouse or on a pad, will have your wrist wrecked. So you want to have touch instead of click. Health matters as well. We do have aliases, we do have Chrome extensions, which are not installed by default because browser is really touchy security-wise. It contains our session tokens, our password remembered from time to time, if our password manager extension maybe. So I do not want to have any impact in here. Extensions related to VS Code, which are being installed manually within the Makefile, covering soon. Picom is the compositor manager for transparency and animation from time to time. tmux, you get it. We are within tmux right now. So split pane, some reordering, some window cycling. So really convenient. If you're not using it, try to get used to it, because that's just perfect. Vim rc file to have some sane defaults within Vim and not only neovim, and zsh file as well. Your zsh.file is being backed up or pushed within your fork of SkillArch. So if it contains secret, you will have a bad time. But it should not contain secret, because in here I can go right to the bottom, see that I do have my own precious custom aliases that I do not want to share. So I'm just backing up and sharing the fact that I source an external file, but you do not want your secret in there, nor specific variables, nor anything. It should be protected somewhere else. So this file is being backed up, so we all have pretty much the same at a few differences. So if I go ska update advanced to have the list, I can show you the actual diff between mine and the original SkillArch repo. So I do have AWS plugin and my specific aliases. Now that we saw that, let's go through the Makefile to see better how it's made and why. So now that we covered what it looks like from the outside, let's cover what it is from the inside and how the install process is made, both because I think it's to some extent interesting to see how it's made, and also because I want people to be able to contribute, and by people I mean you maybe. So I want to have it clear and easy to use. First, let's go up one directory, make tab. We do have some level of auto-completion. It takes some files, but it takes the roles as well. Or you have make help to have the whole targets list being displayed. If we go from that, of course, help will try to grep all the targets within the file, so it is not required to update the list, it's just auto-updating or auto-indexing. The install target will install all the various roles, and do some cleanup at the end. So it's here to do it all job. Sanity check is an easy early job that will exit if the make does not have the root capabilities. That way, if you fail issuing your root password or have not placed SkillArch within opt or various things that could have gone wrong already, it would exit early and let you know. Once the sanity check is passed, we have the install base. Install base will try to first have some pacman and overall distribution done. So try to enable parallel downloads of packages to speed up things up. Have some specific options, RAM related to make builds faster. Try to update the mirrors to pull from the right mirrors from your region. Try to update the cache to clean, to update the softwares, and then to install the basic, the keyring, to populate the keyring, to refresh the keyring, die from the keyring. Install chaotic iArch user repository, which is not totally secure because it's controlled by user, but if you want to have some usability over your distribution, you want to have that. Otherwise, you will just do the pretty much the same thing, but building everything from source, which will be really time consuming. So if you want to review Harden, you do you. I took my path and I monitor. We do have some keys add-on for the chaotic Arch user repository. If you wonder, chaotic Arch user repo, it's just from the official documentation, but thanks to feedbacks from various SkillArch and OpenSkill community user, we've been able to improve the get started for keys. Instead of relying on Pacman keys and specific ports, it now relies on this specific line that will relies on HTTP and HTTPS, so regular port instead of ones that could be blocked within your working environment. So trying to make things easy as much as we can. Within install base, I'm also trying to get things tidy. So we will set up first one specific directory to store your personal data and one trash directory. That way you can have one backup. If you RM something, alias RM, you'll see that it's simply a trash pot. That way you should not trash stuff unwillingly. And the data directory. So if I create a new terminal and go within my home folder, it's pretty much empty and the .files are backed up, which means that as long as I back up my single data directory, I'm all good. My computer could be stolen, die, or anything. It would just have no impact on my life, which is super convenient. I will still lose some money, of course, but that's no big deal when you keep your data safe. Next target is the one related to command line tools. So Pacman will install base devel, bison, bzip certificates. It's lots of tools for building, converting files, making, PHPizing, and building block software. Let's toggle. Counting line of code, being able to make and build stuff, converting files from Windows to Unix, being able to expect some return from a command, return code or return text or return behavior, video manipulation, data forensics, debugging programs, signing and getting keys, monitoring your machine, monitoring better your machine. I can have it with BTM, which is convenient, makes graphs. It's beautiful if you want to impress your friends and family. Get some hardware info. Same, have some information on which directories or files are being moved, modified, written to. Have some IP tooling to know what is your current address, your current routes, etc. JSON filtering and in-place modification, compilation, listing open files, socket, etc. And within SOP, you can right away see what are the ports you're being exposing. Some debugging, some building, some finding files, video player, building tools, network tooling, network grep, scanning, OpenSSH client and server, same for SSL, running commands in parallel, Perl or EXIF tools, so metadata extractor for images and pretty much any rich files. Configuration of packages, virtual environment management for Python. I don't remember. Have some readline wrapper for netcat reverse shell, grepping faster than grep and in multiple formats, wrapping sockets, using sockets, being network files, encrypted or not, socket. Netcat, but the GNU version, SQLite for database file management, automating SSH commands for, let's say, root me challenges. Do not have your password in plain text in your history, please. Tmate, so you can have help from a friend really easily. Just run it, and it's like shared tmux across various computers on different networks. Or if you need to, some traceroute utility, the trash command line, which is the one we just covered for the .trash files earlier. Tree, which is used for T2, T3, etc., to have some beautiful vision of your files. Unzip, I'm not gonna explain this one. Diffing some binaries, managing your clipboard, specific compression, second package manager, but a bit more build it yourself than Pacman for pre-built ones. VeraCrypt to manage containers, Git Delta to have some command line syntax-based diffs. So if I go delta within etc shadow and etc password, of course, I'm not able to read this one. cp etc sed s/a/b/g within etc password within tmp password. Delta on this one and the etc one, and now we have some syntax-based diffs, which is lovely. View, I love view. View is some ASCII image viewing within the terminal. So if you view within assets bg.jpg, you can have the SkillArch background being shown, and that's just really fun to watch. Should handle many formats, so it can be easy to view stuff within a container image, or that does not have the X11 socket mounted, or on a remote machine. XSV is like GQ to manipulate JSON, but for XML, ASCII Nema is to record or play things within ASCII, like your shell, do some recording. HTMLQ is GQ, but for HTML, so you can have filters and pick, poke, modify HTML pages, and it's there DOM on the way. Neovim is the one we covered earlier. Glow is README visualization. Oh, my bad. Glow, README. Bam. It's beautiful. It makes lists. It probably displays images as well. There's also JLess that you can use to interactively explore your JSON blobs. So let's get back to it. We had HMSAG get3 pipe GQ. So you have the JSON pipe gron. So you can have the path within your JSON. Within the path, you can always, let's say we want to pick, let's say from that with fuzzy find, we want to pick Discord. Makefile, SkillArch cursor, perfect. We want to select this specific node or value. We could use GQ-R within that, and voila. And so we're covering gless right now. gless, if you do not know yet what you are looking for, run gless, and you can scroll, you can click, you can toggle and toggle, and make some searches with N and Shift N for next and previous. There is WebSocket, which is like Socket, but for WebSockets. Superfile, which is a convenient file manager. SPF, I think I aliased it. SPF dot. And you can browse interactively your file system. And that's nice. Honestly, it's pretty well done. But I do command line mostly, not interactive stuff. Gron, we covered it. Ixa is the one used by the alias L. So it's ls on steroids. So there is also bat, which is cat on steroid. You can bat alias on B to the README, which is a convenient and really well made beautifier, color highlighter, but also you can have bat on more complex files like bat-a to display specific characters, and then you have all the specific null bytes or specific character being displayed. Convenient for, let's say, forensic, may sometimes misc challenges or obfuscation with white spaces. Cstats to get some statistic on your systems. Crony to have, well, a cron daemon even when you are within a Docker which does not have cron. So it's probably just a no-op on the desktop machine. Jeff, so it's the installation of GDB enhanced features. So if you go GDB within, again, which ID and run start, then you have a debugger that is way more pleasant to use than that not having any color, nor context, nor stack, nor telescope. Jeff. A few patches for binary exploding on the way, but that might not be required anymore. I will clean that. LazyVim that we covered earlier. Neovim as well. So LazyVim is a plugin package and pre-setup for neovim, which is a rewrite of Vim. And I try to preload everything. So when you have the Docker images, you will not have to run it and wait for 10 minutes to have all the plugins installed. It's already embedded. Then from EA, we'll try to install ppx and have ppx ensure its path configuration. From that, with ppx, we'll install a few offensive tools, exegol, dir search, bypass URL parser, some pre-commit tuning so you can have some checks before pushing your secrets within Git. SQL map, Wafoo, because whatnot, YouTube downloading tools, SemGrep for some SAST and secret scanning. And within all these packages, I try to inject setup tools that was removed within Python 3.13, I think, but is still really, really useful. Mandatory for most of the tools, but might change in some time. Then with Pacman, we'll try to install mise, which is one of the key components I use the most within the distro, and a few libraries to be able to build PHP. From that, we sleep. We sleep. I'm so sorry for this one, but the install is so fast and now relies so much on GitHub that the CI/CD hits limit rates and so will you. So I do not want the install to run, break, and require to run again. I cannot easily detect a limit rate being reached within a single package install. So every here and then we have to wait a few seconds, which sucks, but from that, with mise, we'll install the packages Python Dependency Manager, Rust, Terraform, Golang, Python, and Node.js. With that, we'll then use Go to install specific location and configure the Go-env path so it works right away, and do some cleanup, and again, sleep from time to time. We'll go through mise, but one really quick demo is the following. Let's say we are in my download directory, and with fine, I can ensure it's empty. If I go pv 3.12, I know we're using Python 3.12, which means that I can vim on my mise file, which shows the tool I'm using, Python within 3.12, and that a VM will be auto-created, auto-seeded, and could rely or not on UV whether I want it or not. Which means that I do have a VM. If I wish Python, I use my VM, and if I python-v, I do not. If I go out of my download directory, I'm back on my machine-wide Python version, which is managed at .config, mise, and mise.toml. And now you can see all the specific packages or subtools I have installed by mise. This is done at user level. Do never sudomise. Punchline intended. Moving forward. So we do have that, and if we go back within download and we Python version, we are back on 3.12, so we're good. And going backward a bit, I said earlier in the process that you should not have your secret within your .sh file, which is true because within mise, again, you can have env section and say automatically export specific secrets on a specific repo, which means that if your program's env gets leaked, it will leak only the secrets that matter to the specific program and not all the ones of your machine right away, which is way better because they will be somewhere else in a file, in a password manager or something, but not all hard-coded right away. We're good for the command line main tools. Now let's go to the shell ones. Back to Pacman, we installed the sh compilation, some highlighting, some auto suggestions, some automatic research within the history, and some themes so it's easy to use. In here, you can see that there are a few dotted lines between every command. There is the hostname, user and hostname. And if I have a command that fails, let's say sleep 10 and I control C, you will have the return code right away. That indicates that you are a victim of a failing command without having to check manually the previous return code. So this is all thanks to the sh tweaks in here. Of course, we'll install mise as well. That is even better. We'll auto install it and start backupping your current .file and linking the new one. So from your home.files to the backed up .files within SkillArch repository. We will then move on and install some compilation for various tools we use. Same for the auto suggestion, the highlighting, etc., etc. Create some .ssh directory with the appropriate permission, and also make sure it's not readable by anyone on your machine. And from that, we'll have automatic installation and starting of the SSH agent thanks to the SSH agent plugin within ZSH. So if I go SSH add list, I have no entities, but my agent is started, and I could add tilde.ssh and some key. From there, you'll be able to have it listed back. And if you want to clean up, you can D to remove all your whole key bag and have nothing hot loaded. All the plugins that are installed within ZSH are colored man page, Docker information, extraction, fuzzy finding. So I could control R and fuzzy find within my history. So the ID, the bat, the vim commands earlier, the view, etc. But also there is control T. So within SkillArch, if I hit control T, I have the telescope tool. So if I simply want to CD somewhere, I could control T, I3, and voila, I'm here, 2 directories away, no CD, no tab, control T, type, enter, we're here. But it also works for specific, let's say, arguments. So I could go for V, control T, and then let's say PhD to inspect an image, and we're in there as well. So it actually works for CDing into directories or fuzzy finding arguments, whether they are files or directories. We also have mise to have auto sourcing, auto enablement, auto update notification, etc. NPM for the automatic sourcing of the right binaries when you have local installs, Terraform for your states, tmux for your states management, etc., and the agent. So they are all sourced within .zsh file that is being backed up. And that's why I do have the AWS CLI in addition to that. That is different from the repo and not present here. Back to FZF for the fuzzy find. FZF is just marvelous. Use it everywhere you can. We saw that integrated within control R and T for history and directories and files fuzzy fuzzing. We have that within rofi. It relies on it as well, but you can also have that manually. So let's say we cat etc password pipe FZF. You can as well say I'm looking for Lalu or anything looking like 1000 or 100. Convenient stuff. Even for triaging logs or having some insight, well, I could even find the README, like cat README pipe FZF, and I'm like, okay, so what was within the README VirtualBox related stuff, VBox stuff. Okay, so I know from that I can README match VirtualBox, and I'm here on the right page. Fuzzy find is lovely. tmux config is pretty much minimalist, but just a few sane defaults. I will maybe not cover it much here. Vim RC as well. Well, we can actually v on config.vim rc. So I just want to disable mouse integration, to have lines being numbered, to have the copy-paste utility not buggy, and some syntax highlight. And for the tmux conf, I have mouse disabled as well. History limit increased because there is nothing more painful than losing important history stuff. And foreground background colors that are less ugly than the initial green or orange one. And of course, we changed the user current shell to ZSH. You do need to log out, log in to have it applied. That's okay. That's just something we all have to do. Docker official installation, it's required, it's just Docker, and I do add your user within the main Docker group. This implies that, of course, we can go from your user to root, but honestly, I do not care. You should not either. On a machine in production, that would matter a lot. On a desktop machine, if I just hit alias sudo equal echo back door and sudo, next time I sudo id, next time you sudo id, I will run my backdoor and elevate. So there's just no point in protecting protecting the root user from an interactive shell perspective within a machine where there is a lot of interactivity. So this is opinionated, but trust me. Do not enable root access over SSH, though that will be a really bad idea. And we slip some more to prevent repetitive sudo to abuse lockout policy from being triggered. And we re-enable Docker because Arch has its own ways that you have to go through. Moving on to the GUI target. Within the GUI target, I tried to have some setup on the machine ID to have hostname and ID being laid up properly. And then we will install a lot of package related to i3. So the gaps, which is the small space you can see here, the blocks, which is the layout configuration helper, the lock, which I will not lock here, but mod L locks your machine up and try to be as fancy as it can. The status for the bar, the top right bar used here. Dmenu that is used along rofi to do that. Dmenu is the menu and rofi is the look and feel. Fe for backgrounding. NM connection editor is the one you cannot see that is just below my face. Give me a sec. So here are the NM CLI, NM indicator, NM connection, and i3 status are all above on the top right here. And I'll be right back. Kitty, which is the terminal brightness control tool helper, xorg host, which is used to enable the Docker X11 forwarding. So it's just convenient utilities. Rofi power menu, which is the one you can hit with mod escape to shut down, reboot, logout, etc. Battery pop-up, which will on a laptop alert you when you are going below 10 or 15% battery. That way you are aware and you will not lose your work. And the settings to try to have some themes being on the dark by default. You can change that, you can tweak it. You'll see that among the shortcuts, not everything is built in within Arch because it's really customizable, granular, but I do want it to rely on G settings. So if you mod W to have the Wi-Fi settings, from there you can have all sorts of usual GNOME settings related to tweaks, display, background, etc. Not everything works, but it's really convenient, so it was a really decent trade-off, I think. And if you have a better option, do hit me up. Then some configuration related to i3. So I create a configured directory, try to ensure it exists, try to back up an existing configuration. So you can check all the scabax files if you want to see what I might have broken on your own installation, or want to fetch past files you would not want to lose. On the fresh install, there should be close to none scabac files, and you can clean them. Polybar config, pretty much the same. I just, for every file, try to ensure the directory exists, ensure it is linked, ensure it's not a file anymore. So that's why it is slightly repetitive, but that's one way I have to ensure I am not breaking anything and idempotent. That way, if you run the install script twice, it should have no breaking effect. It should just reapply changes and make sure everything is clean, neat, and tidy, which is what I want. Picom configuration, Kitty, so the terminal, the touchpad as well, and that's it for the GUI part. And once the GUI is fully set up, we have the GUI tools. So We have VLC on steroid, and it is required to have the JIT installed to be used with OBS and OBS browser, which are custom packages, which are a pain to build because it contains a browser that needs to be integrated. So you got the idea. Trying to rely on things that already exist when it's too painful. Around for screen management, we used that earlier in that video. Blueman for Bluetooth Manager. Cheese for webcam stuff that I will not run here because I'm already using my camera. Hello. VS Code Editor, VS Code Marketplace. So you have the full Microsoft Marketplace within the open source version of VS Code. So you have VS Code with no telemetry nor extra spying with the official marketplace. Discord, Dunst for notification, FileZilla for FTP management and connection, Flameshot for screenshotting and doing some drawing on top of stuff. And voila. GX for graphical hexadecimal editor, Chrome gparted for your partition management, Kdenlive for video editing, Compare to compare files. I just love that tool so much. Compare is lovely. Well, not the best files to diff, but it just works like a charm. And the only difference between compare and meld is that meld can do 3-way diffs, which is sometimes really convenient for huge merge completes. LibreOffice for some document edition, Meld, we just talked about it, Ocular for PDF edition, Qubit Torrent for torrent management, download only legal stuff, obviously. Tor browser that can be used along with Tor, but you do not require Tor browser to use Tor. Wireshark for network inspection, Ghidra for reverse engineering, Signal Desktop for secure messaging as much as we can, but do rely on GPG for other touchy stuff. Dragon for drag and drop thanks to Agari, and it's just perfect. You can drag on, let's say, a file, and this file can be dragged and dropped, let's say, in here, but also in your chat or Discord servers. So from that, I could drag and drop of assets all.png and take them all and drop that on, let's say, our Discord SkillArch community channels. No machine for remote machine access and management. It works really well with i3. So if you're local, use boxes for your VM. If you're on a remote machine or VPS, use no machine. It's really neat. OBS for screen recording and device like remote camera, virtual camera, etc. Emote if you want to have some cute emotes everywhere like I do. So mod E and rows, arrows, and paste. That's convenient and cute. GUVC for camera hardware settings management, Audacity for sound editing, and Polkit GNOME. So when you run gparted, you actually have a notification prompt because otherwise it would just fail silently. Then we do install all the extensions for VS Code, which are within the files, you can make all lines unique, have some JSON tooling, triage, beautification, etc. Have CSV be readable because we do have CSV, encode, decode, but I'll go through that soon. So it's like CyberChef within VS Code. Right now I'm within Cursor, but same. Docker or the Docker extension and containers and dev container integration. Some Python utilities because in security we all rely on that. Some SSH integration so you can have your VS Code edit a remote file system. Same for the Explorer. Live sharing if you do need to collaborate with someone within your own VS Code. So sharing either read-only or read-write both files and terminals. So it's like teammate-like. Xkillidro integration, thanks Atom. We did from Trail of Bits, which is an extension that will allow you to review huge code bases together with a friend and be able to know who found what, where, which files have been covered or not. PDF to Markdown export, that way you can have your pentest report being written in full Markdown and have one single export, and voila, report is done without touching that yucky Office suite. and some PHP highlight, auto completion, and control click to access the documentation. Back to encode decode. Let's say I want some multi-cursor. I take the dot mod shift control, from the dot mod shift right, and from there I could mod alt C and hit encode decode extension to have it all encoded in base 64, and then mod shift C again to have, let's say, a SHA-256 as X from that base 64 of that value. You get it? It's just marvelous. It's just so convenient. Same, I could try to pick, let's say, all the end of line, and from that apply some upper conversion, and then mod shift C and have some, I don't know, string to Unicode, or I like that a lot for encoding or decoding HTML entities. So, but here I took none. But you get the concept. It's convenient, even more used along with cursor, with multi-cursor, within cursor. I do install also FS webcam, so you can have some automated camera taking picture capabilities from the command line. Something like while true, take a picture every hour and send it to Discord. Really convenient when you have a webcam and maybe like plants in front of your desk. Wink, wink, piff. Now moving to the offensive target. So we'll install Metasploit, of course, to have some exploit, but mostly for the MSF Venom capabilities. I really like the reverse shell, encrypted or not, reverse meterpreter, payload generation, and obfuscation. FX for some dependency injection, lazy git to, well, have some lazy git ordering. And that way you can see me struggling with merge, fixes, browse changes, etc. Browse branches as well, even if you're not familiar with Git. Git leaks to find some secrets within Git, but you have SameGrep as well and truffle-hog as well for that. Some OpenJDK, even if this should be managed by mise for your project, having some system-wide JDK is still advised for burpsuite and other software. Hashcat for hash brute forcing, bettercap for network abuse and manipulation, and we do fix burpsuite JDK stuff. Then with ZA we will install FUF for fuzz faster you full, the best enumeration and fuzzing tool you can have if you are using it the right way. Go to retrieve URLs and assets from Wayback Machine. Project a discovery tool manager to recover Katana, nuclei, CIDR, and whatnot, like just so many tools. Wayback URLs to get things from Wayback as well. Fabric to invoke AI. Hey Doomer, thanks again for that really cool discovery. So from that you have some pre-prompt engineering and just access an AI really conveniently and in an efficient way. Then with mise, we run Go to install specific tools. So short name scanner to pawn some ISS tools. Cook from Gitesh, we received a live in stream maybe years ago now to cook some word lists and, let's say, have some auto modification, tweaks, permutation, and in place add-ons, prefix, suffix, etc. And also hi Noraj for your awesome contribution to that tool. Brute spray, because from that you can take nmap output and automate the brute force of various SSH, FTP, MySQL, and more authentication on various protocols. Gowitness, so you can have some automatic reconnaissance, like giving thousands of URLs, have them being screenshot and then triage and review easily by just scrolling thousands of screenshots, which is way better than actually me opening thousands of Chrome tabs at once. Sorry, computer. With pdtm, we install the whole tooling, and within nuclei, we install and download all the templates. That way, even within the Docker images, you have all inside. If you have your VM or anything being pre-set up, you can go away. You will not need something early in the Monday morning on your pen test internally with no egress networking available. That will be painful. All pre-set up in the right way, at hand, offline, as much as I can. There are also clones of multiple GitHub repository with really specific tools, and we'll cover them. So Chisel is one tool that is, to me, the best for network pivoting. It relies on WebSocket, and you can just do any kind of SOX, reverse port forward, reverse DNS over. Marvelous, just my jam. PHP DGC for generic gadget collection from CFReal, which is just something you cannot not use if you want to point on PHP. Bifurcation to obfuscate stuff, binaries, payloads, web shell, and more. Cloudflare to try to bypass not so well configured Cloudflare firewall from instances. There is also minus static that you can use, like opt minus static get to search for, let's say, socat or tmux. And from that, you can get x86 or sometimes RM binaries. And from there, you can, let's say, pawn a machine, drop socat in there, drop tmux in there, and then run PTY for all. And from that, you would have a reverse interactive PTY with tmux embed, so multiple shells, scroll back, history, and all. So make yourself at home. Exploit database if you need to grep and look for specific exploit or payloads right away. Exploit DB for pretty much the same. PTY for all to spawn reverse shell, reverse PTY easily. And pdtm, which are word lists I used to maintain for a quite long time. And it's actually a nipot, so it should be moved within word list. We'll do that soon. Within the word lists that are installed in next target, we do have ROQ for password brute force, payload, all the things. Swisky. Your work is awesome, and so you can have all sort of payloads locally to just attack. Well, not lose time. We reduce the frictions as much as we can. Fuzzing templates from project discovery to use along with nuclei. Brutix for used along with brute spray. You can have a lot of word lists in there, very convenient. Payload for burp intruder, probable word lists that are more protocol focused. Open redirect payloads, there are a lot of prototype pollution to open redirect within URL unsure or parameters. It's worth a try when you have nothing on the web. Seclist, you named it, all the raft, medium, large directories, upper, lowercase, etc. PWDB public as well, which is a repository containing probable passwords known and generated from past exploit leaks and human password generation. Bug bounty word list. It's convenient for scanning to try to be exhaustive, but do not try to spray that kind of word list in bug bounty. You would only end up with thousands of duplicates or useless stuff. This word list is useful, but spraying known word list on bug bounty will just lead you nowhere. Richelieu, which contains password word list, ranked by likelihood of working and really focused on French dictionaries and probable words. And web app when you want to brute force specific files from specific frameworks. Kudos to Podalirius, insane work done here. Once this is done, we move to the hardening target. This one will try to install OpenSnitch and UFW if not already installed, and opt-in install it, but I do not want to force install it because it's really noisy. You want to opt in for that. I cannot forcefully do that for you, but it's a lovely tool. We have the update targets that will mostly pull the repository and then suggest you to run them. I do not want to force update and break anything, so you do you. And it will, before pulling the repo, ensure you have no unsaved changes. That way it won't break everything right away. Docker builds for the light and full image, you can use them, but I already provide images. It's only if you want images of your already custom installed. And Docker run if done full, so with the xorg command we talked about earlier, with this one will allow forwarding between your host and container of your X11 socket. And last but not least, a cleanup job that will once again remove and clean up cache, synchronize stuff, try to remove our fan packages, remove some old cache, whether it's pip, node, mise, go, usual software, etc., Docker images, logs, and so on, and so on, and so on. This is really convenient, both for your machine from time to time cleanup, and also for me to push light Docker images without tons of stuff. That way, there is all the useful stuff, but not junk. So here we are. That was quite long and exhausting, but I tried to have something as granular as I can. Of course, we haven't reviewed all the config files, but it's mostly key value information. You can grep around, you can fzf around, you can give it all to a GPT and ask your own question and do your own research. But that's it. I hope you will really feel at home within SkillArch. I hope you will have potential cool suggestions in the future. And I wish this was clear enough and concise enough-ish. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye. For once, I also would like to ask openly to really like, share, subscribe, etc. This takes a lot of time. I do that because I love doing that, but it's exhausting, both doing it, maintaining it, doing the video montage, taking care of all the communication, PRs and all. So yeah, give kudos, being it for me or other open source maintainers. That being said, I wish you all a marvelous day. Take care and see you during the next live streams. Bye.